Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, also Bryant Group Ventures, author of Love Leadership, The New Way of Leading in a Fear-Based World, a bestseller, and How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, also a bestseller, and I put all the tools in the links in the introduction to this video to make it easy for everybody. This is going to be a really important message, and I want you to tell all your friends about it. We've got over 2.5 million views to this Straight Talk Civil Rights series that I'm doing, and I'm convinced we have a movement, right? But we got to get over the naysayers and the haters and the cynics. We don't need to convince everybody. We won't. In fact, you cannot have a movement where you don't have people who are against you. That's the whole nature of a movement, and you cannot grow without constructive friction. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. really only had 20% of the black community support. Little known fact. He only had about 20% of the white community support. Little known fact. Most people were either against him or quiet. Just said nothing, right? And in order for evil to succeed, good people sit on their hands and say nothing. So I want to give good people some ammunition to be bold and courageous today. And I want to really challenge folks who are not really bad folks. They just need a reason to be good, right? Because they have nothing but almost PTSD, almost like post-traumatic stress disorder, telling them why everything's wrong in their life and nothing will work, and racism will debilitate you, and there's always these obstacles that keep you from where you need to go, and they really believe that. And I think that if I give them, and you also encourage them in your comments, push back when you see some silliness, give them some reason to believe in a new season, that they'll come around. And then you're going to have just some fools, people who just, no matter what you say, are just don't bother me with the facts. I've already made up my mind. Okay. And all that's cool, right? As I keep saying, it's okay if you don't like me. I like me. Okay? So thank you, Juanita Smith, for giving me high self-esteem. She told me she loved me every day of my life. Nothing's more powerful for a child than a mother or a father telling them they are loved. So even though I grew up in Compton, California, and South Central LA, I do acknowledge that I had this unique gift from my mother, who told me she loved me every day of my life. And if I was going to be part of a gang, it was going to be Juanita Smith's gang. I was more afraid of her than I was afraid of the dudes down the street. Tweet next door, the local gangster, who unfortunately got killed with my best friend because they didn't get the memo that I'm about to give you today. They just decided that life was unfair, and they were going to go take theirs, and then whatever goes around comes around. And so Tweet, who was a local thug, and George, who was my best friend, who was actually a straight-A student. George didn't have high self-esteem, didn't have good role models, and wouldn't listen to common sense, and didn't have a mother and a dad like I had, unfortunately, and Tweet took him out, right? So I'm gonna try to save every George I can find, because I think about George every week. Okay, so let me jump into this and be very precise. No more excuses. So I did a video. This is going to be real radical, and I'm going to upset some people, and I'm sure we'll get some interesting comments. I did a video in response to Roland Martin's interview I did in D.C. I did one, and it was called, The New Form of Slavery, I think is what it was called. It's gotten I think almost 300,000 views, certainly over 250,000. Tons of comments, tons of shares, most of them positive, 5% knuckleheads, just calling me all kind of names, whatever. Okay, so they say, basically the argument, if you want to boil down all the naysayers, no, not the naysayers, I handle it, the knuckleheads were, you're a coon, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a sellout, you don't get it, this is racism, right? These are mostly African-American men. This is racism, and, the whole system is rigged, and we can't succeed because of 300 years of slavery and all this kind of stuff. And you know what? You're partly right. Because whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. Life is 10% what life does to you, and 90% how you choose to respond to it. All I'm asking you in this whole series is, what's your response going to be? I'm not denying you your pain. I'm not denying you that racism is real. I'm not denying you that slavery was the most abominable, disgusting, horrible thing ever to be visited upon mankind. And I'm not denying that African American slavery in America was the worst form of slavery on top of slavery in general. And I'm not denying that until 1970, this basically a version of this went on, Jim Crow basically. So for 300 years, you've been told you ain't nothing. I get it. And I understand there's remnants of that today. And all of that's real. But that's not my question to you. My question to you is, if you say that racism is this, and because of the color of your skin, you cannot succeed, and I see all the comments, by the way, I'm going to respond to them before I finish here, and you can't succeed because the white man's done this, the institution's done that, and the government's against you, and because of the color of your skin, you can't do anything. That's essentially, fundamentally, I'm going to become and as a result of that, I'm going to become a black nationalist, I'm going to check out of this thing, everything is, and I can rob, pillar, and steal, whatever I want to do, because none of the system works for me. Okay, here's my question to you. What about the Ethiopians who come to this country? They're black. They look just like you. What about the Nigerians who come to this country? They're black, look just like you. What about the black Africans from 54 countries who come here with not a dime in their pocket and within 10 years are owning businesses, right? And I mean, I can't go to a hotel in Washington, D.C. and not have my Ethiopian brothers all over me like a cheap suit. I mean, they got that whole situation on lockdown. They work from the busboy all the way up to management, and they hooked each other up, but one of them went and just got a job. But I mean, they just came from Ethiopia. You've been here your whole life. Yo, generations have been. Dr. King died. My mentor, Ambassador Andrew Young, died. Malcolm X, if you want to cite him, died so that you could have freedom. And what do we do with it is my question. We just throw it away. So, okay, let me not just pick on Africa. What about the islands? We cite Colin Powell. Okay, you know he's from the islands, don't you? We cite, go and do some research on a lot of these brothers who've really done incredible things. A lot of them came from the Caribbean islands, from the Bermuda and the Jamaicas, and all right. But why is it that they can come here? Nobody gave them a grant. Nobody gave them reparations. They had slavery there too, by the way. In fact, there was slavery on the islands and slavery in Mexico before there was slavery on the U.S. soil, because it was easier to get there. They got there first. All right? That's Bishop. Bishop doesn't think this is too interesting, my dog Bishop, my chocolate lab. And maybe you think it's better, more interesting than Bishop does. But these brothers, they didn't get insistence, they didn't get reparations, they didn't get handouts, they didn't get a trust fund, they didn't get an apology, right? They showed up and started hustling. And they made sure they get up and go, then get up and went. They made sure their mentality, their attitude was about over it, around it, through it, I'm gonna get to it. They realized that racism was like rain. It's either falling someplace or it's gathering. So you might as well get out an umbrella and a color you like and start strolling through it, because it's not going to change, so you must. I can't get in a taxi. I was just in Norway. I just got back today, right? So I just got back from a 20-hour flight, and I'm talking to you, right? I'm not chilling. I'm not on my feet up. I had a message for you today. I promised you I was going to give you a series, and I'm going to keep my promise to you. I'm not going to give up on us ever, and I'm going to come at you straight and no chaser, unbought and unbossed and unbiased. And my only agenda is loving you into health. That's my only agenda. That we're living in a moment in history right now. This is history never feels historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. So I'm in Norway, right? But that doesn't mean it's not that this is not historic, because it doesn't feel like history, right? So I'm in Norway, and a black man, picks me up in a taxi. There's like 12 black people in Norway. I'm kidding, right? But point is, he's come there from Ghana. He's made himself a life. He's built his business, right? He didn't sit there and whine and complain. He made it happen, right? So I come here to America, and all the taxi cab drivers are from somewhere in Africa or the Caribbean. My Uber driver is Ethiopians, and the hotels, right? All these, they're working hard and then the guy who's a valet at the hotel here, Ethiopian brothers, like, well, look, I'm trying to start a car service too. Can you just I don't want a handout. Can I just have the first job, right? When your regular driver doesn't have that time for you, can you just call me? I'll show up, Johnny on the spot, and I will pick you up within an hour's notice. And sure enough, we had a shot. Somebody canceled. We called him. He showed up, and I'm sure he canceled a date or whatever. He showed up. He got paid. Got a reference. Now his business. He's got like 3 trucks. So So then what differentiates, because somebody's now going to say, well, he's hating on African Americans. He's racist against his own people. What's wrong with you? If this was going on in your mind, why would I go through all this to hate on you? What's wrong with you? Here's what I'm saying. Please listen to me. After 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, ending in our lifetime, 1970, where you've been told basically you aren't crap, I can't say what I want to say, you don't have any value. I'm saying that we believe it. I'm saying that what differentiates, that African Americans are amazing. We've been doing so much with so little for so long. We can almost do anything with nothing. We've been doing so much with so little for so long. We can almost do anything with nothing. My mother, Juanita Smith, from East St. Louis, from a little stoplight town in Mississippi before East St. Louis, decided to marry my father because he could get her to California. Yeah, he loved her. She loved him. But the deal was, you got to get me to prosperity to raise my children in a different environment, right? And so they came to L.A., 8th grade education, not because they didn't want education, because that was all they could get back there in the South. And my mother went back to school at 62 and got her high school diploma and marched with cap and gowns with 18-year-olds. Come on now. Don't tell me what we cannot do. And my mother's proud of that, and she should be, right? My dad was an 8th grade education, he was financially illiterate, unfortunately, so he lost it all. And I learned that lesson from that. That's why I'm so passionate about this today, delivering the memo on money. But he built a gas station, an 8-unit apartment building, a nursery, our own home. For a moment, we were balling and rolling because my dad had a work ethic and wasn't going to let anybody or anything keep him from him and his dream for his family. But unfortunately, he had too much pride, wouldn't admit he didn't understand money, wouldn't listen to my mother, who did understand money. My mother's credit score is more than 800. Men fell for 3 reasons, by the way, men and women: arrogance, pride, and greed. Arrogance, pride, and greed. 3 reasons we fail. We won't listen. We won't, somebody's saying somebody's talking common sense to us, and we won't listen because we've already made up our mind, because our pain is too painful to deal with the reality of the healing that's going to be on the door to our promised land. What did I say in my first book? Love Leadership. Courage is nothing more than your faith reaching through your fear, displaying itself as action in your life. I'm going to repeat. Courage is nothing more than your faith reaching through your fear, displaying itself as action in your life. So after 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, ending in our lifetime, 1970, either our lifetime or our parents' lifetime, not 1870, 1970. So yes, I'm acknowledging that you have reasons to be upset. But here's what my philosophy is. It differentiates African Americans from Africans and Caribbeans who look just like you. I think that 70% of black Americans are clinically undiagnosed depressed. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again. I think after being told you ain't crap, I want to say something else. For all this time and having just your self-esteem destroyed and and having psychological warfare waged on you and being depressed and distressed and diminished and pushed aside, and having the house Negro and the field Negro against each other and all this drama. Now we got crab in the barrel when our worst enemy is often ourselves, us to us. I think that 70% of us are clinically undiagnosed depressed. And until we deal with it and talk about it and go get some help, we cannot resolve it. But the number one thing we've got to do is to stop thinking all this hate and negativity in here, which is why I said in this last video about slavery, we can't be angry for a living, right? I'm not angry. Somebody's going to say, oh, he's angry. I'm not angry. I'm passionate, right? Don't you know the difference? Don't you see me smiling? Don't you see me pouring everything I have inside of you? I'm passionate. And if you're not passionate about something, or as Dr. King would say, if you don't know what you're willing to die for, you aren't fit to live. I'm giving you everything I got. I'm giving you all the experiences of 50 years of my life, trying to get you to pivot and move in another direction, because that's all I did. And everybody who succeeded, that's all they did. But if you don't get this right, if you decide that the whole game is rigged, you might as well just give up right now. Just throw in the towel. And I hope you don't have children, because you're infecting them with your disease of depression, of anger, of non-healing, of non-forgiveness. I mean, isn't the first rule of the Bible to forgive? If for no other reason, forgive so that we can be forgiven, because none of us are saints. A saint is a sinner that got up. So yes, life is unfair. Yes, the playing field is not level. Yes, if you're born black, I'm talking to everybody in this video, but I'm specifically obviously talking to my black brothers here who seem to be, for some reason, just upset from Jump Street. Can't have a rational conversation because they just get emotional and go off the deep end and start calling you names and all this kind of, and then you know, what do you got? By the way, is that working for you? I'm asking you, is all that negative energy working for you? All the name calling, all the you know, I'm gonna be a black nationalist, I'm gonna turn away from the American system. Is all that working for you? All right, look, go start a business, go build wealth, and if you want to, then go, you know, fund 100 black scholarships to send kids to college. Bravo, but stop running your mouth. Right? That's cheap. Stop coming to me talking to me. I like what I'm doing much better than what you're not doing. So I put in the comments this time, right in the heading, what I've done. So who is this dude? What is he doing? Okay, $2.5 billion invested in our neighborhoods through Operation Hope, me and my friends. 2 million plus clients. Opening an office a week. We're going to become the Starbucks of financial inclusion. Finishing what the Freedmen's Bank started with Abraham Lincoln in 1865. Frederick Douglass with a mission of teaching free slaves about money. We never got the memo on money. I'm going to do a whole piece on that. That's what the problem is. We don't understand the free enterprise system, but there's nothing wrong with us. We're not dumb and we're not stupid. It's what we don't know that we don't know that's killing us. But we think we know. And then we just assume that it has to be all racism because if not, why am I not succeeding? Because we never got the memo. And I'm trying to deliver the memo and then I want you to pass it on. And so let me end with this. So you see Barber Motorsports here. I was trying to go racing yesterday in Norway, but the weather wouldn't cooperate. But there's not a lot of brothers in motorsports. It's Bishop again. Come here, Bishop. Come here. Come say hello to everybody. There's not a lot of black people in motorsports, but that's okay. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Step up. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. You're going to be in the thing. Say hello. All right. Anyway, you'll meet Bishop another time. He's beautiful, by the way. He's absolutely amazing and well trained. Okay. I love you too. Sit. Don't embarrass me on national TV or broadcast. There you go. Good boy. All right. As you guys see, it's live. All right. So there's not a lot of brothers in motorsports, but I do it anyway, right? And I don't go there with an attitude, a chip on my shoulder. I just go there. I go in it to win it, right? And I'm actually fairly good. But so let's just approach life without an attitude and a chip on our shoulder. Let's just go get our thing, right? Because blacks from other parts of the world have done it right here, got here later than us, got here with none of the resources, didn't have the Civil Rights Bill, the Voting Rights Act, or none of that stuff, and are clocking us in broad daylight. So I'm just tired of the excuses. No excuses. What's the answer? Hope is the answer. I'm out. I'm going to answer some questions. I don't know how long I've been going. I think it's a long time. I'm trying to make these videos less than 15 minutes. Let me see if I can get a couple of questions. Okay, Bridget, Johnny, so cute. Introduce him, Bishop. Yeah, I'll let you see him at another time when I got more time. I'm feeling guilty. This is starting to get lengthy. Bessie Moore, Eric, Peak, Jocelyn Buchanan. Hey, Jocelyn. She worked for Oprah Winfrey. That's where I got our $100,000 grant from Oprah Winfrey. She's fantastic. Great singer, by the way. Continue in your blessings and awesome, John. Proud of you. Thank you. Clenneth Diaz grew up in the streets of Harlem. Theron Brown, Senath Mitchell. Depression perspective. I totally agree with that. Okay, thank you. Dion Edwards. I got the memo from you. Thank you. Byron Dees. Ismail Fami. Mary from Alaska. Lucy Don. Latoya Martin, Sharon Hillman, Jocelyn, my friend again, Love, Brandon, Shannon Walls, no excuses, Fonza, just a lot of great comments. I can't mention everybody's name. James Lawrence, yeah, I believe James Lawrence that 70% of us is clinically undiagnosed depressed. Explains everything, by the way. Explains why we don't vote like we should. Normal people just vote, right? Black people vote when we're proud or we're upset. I wouldn't say proud or pissed. Normal people just vote, right? That's depression. So all these things I have to sort of do in nuggets. I'm not overwhelming people. Sharon Hillman, Mickey McFly, Keith Ricks, Jeff Pelletier. If the angry energy was turned into productivity, how much more would be created? Oh my God, Jeff. I mean, I mean, black people are so creative. I'm going to do a whole piece on how we succeeded in sports and entertainment and all the creative spaces. I mean, just imagine if we had got the memo on money and we became. I'm going to do my next video today is going to be on entrepreneurship. Jeff, you hit it on the head. If we turn that negative energy into positive passion, there's nothing we can't do, right? Lakita, Denise Long, Jaspin, Latoya, Rakita, my cousin. I think that's Rakita, my cousin. That's a Rakita. Gregory King Montel. We have a lot of folks joining this conversation. I don't want to extend it too long. I'm going to do one more video tonight on my Black Enterprise speech coming up this week in why entrepreneurship is so important. I just saw somebody from Linwood. Great. Okay, I'm going to respond to most of these offline. It's a lot of comments. Love you much. Peace and light. Bye.